Hey there, folks. Welcome to this month's episode of End of the Month. Unfortunately, we are getting off to a really fucking rough start with doing this new format. So this was the second attempt at recording the first podcast. And unfortunately, Gomer's audio crapped out both times. The first time, it just didn't save after we recorded the whole session, as he'll explain. And then this time it just started crapping out midway through the podcast recording. And unfortunately I was able to salvage as much as I could. You'll get all that I could salvage. And yeah, it's going to be a bit of a shorter podcast, but we'll hopefully get a longer one for you next month. Yeah, so thank you. And without further ado, enjoy the rest of the podcast. Hello, everybody. Welcome to End of the Month.
And End of the Month. You know, I'm actually not sure that is the name we should go with, but we'll figure all this out. I'm not sure. Okay. But we'll figure all this out as we go on. Maybe Maybe we'll change it up. But for now, running name, End of the Month.
Yeah. The name for the development name.
Working title is End of the Month.
Working title. There they are.
Is End of the Month. All right. How's everyone doing? This is today is January 13th, but we tried recording this last Tuesday.
On like the 8th.
The 8th. And I made an silly whoopsie stupid fuck, and we're here now. So which is
kind of sad because I think that was probably one of the better episodes that we've recorded.
Oh yeah, there was some good conversations there for sure, definitely. But I think this will be
about Mr. Arab.
Oh yes, was this Avi Arab? I don't even know.
Avi, yeah, the producer behind all the Spider-Man movies.
Oh boy, yeah, maybe we'll cover.
We can touch back on that.
We'll touch back a little bit.
I think that's worth touching back on.
Yeah, because it was never released, and people need to know what we think about Spider-Man, because that was what we talked about for about 2 hours, and then, yeah, my computer made an whoopsie fucky, and here we are. So why don't we start off with music picks again?
Well, first I want to ask you, how was your week?
Oh, how was my week? It's been a long week. I'm very tired, and I've been sleeping in pretty late. Just, I don't know what it is. I feel like I don't know. I just kind of feel like shit. And I don't know. Might just be seasonal depression or something.
I was going to say it's January. It's when that seasonal depression really starts kicking in.
It's this weather. I mean, the sun's been out, but it's this fucking cold.
Yeah, and it's the fact that it's like cold with no snow, so it's just gray.
It's just not even, the sun was out today. It's some clear blue skies, but it was like cold and shitty. I went for drinks on Friday.
That freezes you to your bones.
Yeah, went for drinks on Friday with the boys, so that was nice. That was always a good time. But other than that, no, it's been a long week. I was working. Yeah, and now I'm here.
Now we're here.
Hopefully this next week is going to be a little bit better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Might be looking for new work soon, actually.
New work, yeah?
Possibly. I don't know. I have to get my resume to a bunch of people right now, but I think...
where are you looking at, if I can ask?
Well, was thinking just some hardware stores in the area, and then I was also going to get my resume to my friend's dad, who was going to help me look for some apprenticeships, which was really chill of him.
Sweet.
Shout out to that guy.
That fella there.
Shout out to that fella there. And, yeah. You know what's funny? You never told me who used to spit dip at McDonald's.
Oh, I didn't?
You never did. Not even after we finished recording. That went completely untouched upon after we finished recording that.
I'll tell you after this one then.
I mean, you can tell me now. We could censor him. You can just cut it.
Okay.
I don't know who that guy is, but if you know who that guy is,
he was one of the truck guys. One of.
Okay. Well, that fucking guy?
Yeah, that guy.
I remember. Music picks?
Music picks. Let's do it.
Music picks. I'll let you do yours.
Also, just to just because they're not going to hear this, just to recap on basically what we're going to be doing from now on is every last Thursday of the month, we're going to be putting out a new episode. At least that's what we're aiming to do. When it comes to the watch parties, that's kind of special occasion type thing. It really just goes on whatever whenever we're able to work that out.
We kind of have to be in the same room for that to work.
Yeah, exactly. We really do need to be in the same room for that.
It's a bit more complex when we're, an hour and a half away from one another in a different room, But
yeah.
And also, this is a new format for us because, we are an hour and a half now in a different room, different city. So this is going to be, I think last week when we, recorded that now missing podcast.
Yeah.
That was a pretty good test for what we can, what we're capable of doing with this new format. But I think we should be all right this week. Hang on, I gotta Google search something for this guy. But okay, let's continue with music picks though. Let's go on with yours.
So the other thing is that with music picks, we're going to be putting out a playlist that pairs with the episode, and it's going to be like, just samples of the albums and stuff that we talk about for the week, and not the week, the month. And so if you're ever interested into looking into what we're listening to, I'll be making a Spotify one. Gomer, if you want to make an Apple Music one, just so that way there's...
Yeah, sure. I'll try to do what I can do.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I'll definitely be making a Spotify one. If anybody wants an Apple Music one, just let us know, and we can see what we can do about throwing one together for that. So, getting on, my first music pick is Bodies and Control and Money and Power by Priest.
Priest.
Yeah, so Priest is a female fronted sort of post-punk band. One second. I am not as organized as it was last time. I had all the Wikipedias and stuff like that up.
Last time we were prepared, but we'll try to overcome our unpreparedness.
So, here we are. Now I have the Wikipedia up. So yeah, it's like punk, post-punk type stuff. They're based out of Washington, D.C., formed in 2012. And it's like, it's kind of like, not Bikini Kill in a way. It's like, yeah, it's kind of like Bikini Kill, I should say. It's that very like, talk to you, sort of shouted type of vocals.
Almost like spoken word?
Yeah, kind of like spoken words. It's sort of like the early type of Black Flag stuff, not the actual spoken word Black Flag
okay.
albums,
right.
but
so like Rollins just kind of, like I'm thinking of what track right now. I don't even know. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
I'd say Black Coffee would be a good one to sort of compare it to.
Yeah, or what's that song? Fuck, hang on. Hang on a minute.
Yeah.
Sacrilege. I don't have any Black Flag albums saved. I have them all on vinyl. I was trying to look on my Apple Music right now. I'm not going to go wheel over to my record shelf and just, Anyway, go on, though. Go on.
But yeah, so it's, they're a really solid female-fronted band, and female-fronted is one of those things that, like, is kind of weird to say because it really shouldn't be its own genre, but I think it's a way of, like, sort of shedding a light on these bands that otherwise kind of get washed up.
I was going to mention that because you mentioned these guys last week when we spoke about music picks, and I was going to say, it's like, I don't really think that should matter.
Yeah, it really shouldn't.
It's a band. I don't understand. Like, it's one of those things that people that rip on music douchebags like to point out is that they'll mention female-fronted when, like, the lead singer's female. Like, who gives a fuck, really? Like, because they want to sound, like, all-important or something. No offense to you, of course. I'm just saying, like, this is,
it's one of those things that it's, like, it's just become sort of ingrained in the culture.
I highly recommend, by the way, if you're on Instagram, you check out the account called Fuckboy Cringe, because it is really good. I'm going to just share them with you right now, if I can.
Please shoot me that.
You need to follow this account, because they just make fun of, like... I don't even know if you'll find it funny or not. I send Sam some of these memes, and he just doesn't have any, like, response. But maybe you'll like him. I don't know. I'll send it to you.
Yeah, shoot it to me.
It's funny as fuck. Anyway, basically, yeah, no, okay, go on. No, but I was going to say female fronted is kind of one of those dumb things that I hear, and I'm just like, why does that matter?
Yeah, it really shouldn't, but it's just one of those things that it kind of got ingrained into the zeitgeist.
Sure, it's like...
So we all kind of end up, like, having it there, and it's one of those things that we have to, like, consciously sort of go, like, okay, it shouldn't matter. Like, we need to put that aside.
I feel like it's kind of an idiom. But I don't know. That's not the word. Female fronted. It just sounds dumb. For me,
yeah.
It's dumb. When people say that shit, because it's like, why should it matter? You know, just like, it's a band. Who cares if the females or the lead singer is a female? Like that, whatever, fine. Is that a selling point? Like, I don't.
The only way that I could see it as a selling point is like, okay, you want to support like a group that generally, especially in rock music, doesn't get as much of a presence. Like they don't get as much of a platform. And then sort of like, especially in punk music, like, it's sort of like the stories and the viewpoint of females in the scene.
Okay, I guess
women in the scene. But again, like, it really shouldn't matter that much. It's important to look at it and to talk about it. But yeah, in terms of making it its own subgenre, it really shouldn't. Because then you're just lumping in so many different bands of so many different styles into.
I wouldn't even call it a subgenre. I would more just call it like a thing that people used to just define terms, or to define, a band that has a female lead singer. But I mean,
yeah,
why? Who gives a shit?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, why did that have to be its own thing? We just, like, Surfboard, for example, is one of those bands that, like, has a female lead singer, but every article I've seen about it never, like, or, like, Wikipedia page, nothing here says female fronted. Like,
yeah.
Who the fuck? Like, anyway, it's weird, but, okay, so Priest,
very solid band. This album, Bodies and Control and Money and Power, is really good. It's their debut album. Like, it's
right.
They put out stuff before that, but this was their first feature length, like full length album, not feature length. But yeah, it's really solid. I would really suggest getting that. Actually, no, it's not their first full length album. It was the last EP that they put out, but it's one of those longer EPs that it sort of gets moved into that gray area between album and EP.
I think they're called mini LPs.
Yeah,
because Mac DeMarco has released like 2 albums that no one really considers them to be EPs, but no one really considers them to be albums either. But he's just called them mini LPs or something like that. Like, hang on a second.
That's a good term for it, yeah.
Yeah. Let me just look it up, because I know another one, which is just it's like a really short little concept album, but there's like 8 songs. I think it's about 30 minutes or something. But so Wikipedia considers it a mini LP.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah, it's one of those terms that, another one of those wacky music terms like female fronted and mini LP.
Peace.
All right.
And DAWs.
And all right, let's continue on.
So the next one that I have is Total Communism by Downtown Boys.
Downtown Boys.
Yeah, so Downtown Boys is a multiracial
Here we
punk
go.
band.
That's another
one.
Here we go. Female fronted, multiracial. Okay, go on.
Well, this hits both those categories.
Okay, all right. Let's keep it going then. Gomes doesn't have enough beer in him. Let's keep going. But
yeah, multiracial punk band based out of Long Island, I'm pretty sure. Let me double check. Sorry, no, Providence, Rhode Island.
Rhode Island.
Yep, Rhode Island.
Clam chowder. All right, go on.
Exactly. And it's really solid. It's some of the songs are in Spanish, some of them are in English. It's again that really sort of shouted style of punk, but it's also like really bouncy and dancy in a way.
Hey guys, we're from Brooklyn. This is my band. We're called the Desk because it means like, we're just on top. We're just underneath everything. But we're a multiracial, multilingual, female-fronted,
gender inclusive,
indie punk band. None of us here actually play electric guitar. It's just Buddy with a cajon and an accordion, and then we all just say hey.
And we got a didgeridoo.
We have a didgeridoo as well, but yeah, man, like we cover Black Flag.
On the didgeridoo.
Yeah, we got a song. We cover Black Flag's song Black Coffee, but instead we call it vegan coffee. Okay, go on about what's this band called? The Desk.
So it's called it's called Downtown Boys.
Downtown Boys. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
But they're really, really good. This is actually their first album.
Right.
And they've kind of gone through a bunch of lineup changes, but the guitarist and the lead singer stayed the same, and they're sort of the two main anchors and creative driving forces in the group. But it's also really cool because they have a saxophonist.
Of course they do.
In the group. But it's not like ska. It's more straightforward style punk. But one of my favorite things about this album is that the very last track of it is a cover of Dancing in the Dark by Mr. Bruce Springsteen.
Bruce Springsteen?
The boss.
The Sprungstang. All right.
But yeah, I definitely recommend checking that album out. If not, then just the cover of Dancing in the Dark because it's a really cool cover.
Mm-hmm.
Next one, this is a band that I know you really like. I don't know if you checked them out since.
You were mentioning they're like a post-punk type deal.
Songs of Praise by Shame, yeah.
Shame was the name of the band.
Write that down.
I'm gonna go download that album now.
Yeah, no, really, really, really good album for your sort of hardcore post-punk type of stuff. They're based out of South London.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like really hard driving style of hardcore but with that sort of like darkness that comes in a lot of post-hardcore type stuff.
I'm on their Apple Music page right now in the band photo, and I'm just like looking at these cunts, these fucking chav homies, and they just seem they seem like they got like their biggest inspirations right now. I'm telling you, Oasis and the Smiths. I'm looking at them right. Oh, and
they play harder than both of them,
and they probably play harder than both of them. I'll give them a listen for sure. Yeah, no. Because the way you were describing them last time, it was like, wow, okay, this sounds right up my alley.
Yeah, no, and their live performance, I found out literally after we recorded the last podcast that they actually did a second performance on KEXP.
Yeah, you mentioned that too.
And it was in front of like a full live audience. Because that's the thing, I was talking to you about like the first one when it was actually live in studio and like headphones were flying and all that type of stuff.
Right. Oh, that's okay. Yeah, you mentioned that.
Yeah, that one's really good. But they did a second one back in like February.
Mm-hmm.
And it was live in front of like a full audience and stuff like that.
Right.
It's an actual live show.
Can I interrupt?
Yeah.
It's 7:26 right now, and this is about the time when my family comes upstairs to go to bed, and they're going to be fucking rustling, so I apologize if you can hear that in the background. But hopefully Duncan's talking can cover it up well enough.
I definitely recommend Concrete off of this album, and what's the other one? One Rizla is really good as well.
One Rizla.
Yeah, that's the second and third tracks off the album.
They named a track after a fucking rolling paper. I love it. Okay. Off of dude. Okay, we'll get back to that later. Mm-hmm. One Rizla. That's funny as hell. Okay, this is now officially right up my alley. All right.
So the next one that I have is a Canadian band. They're called White Lung, and I have their self-titled EP.
Right.
So, really awesome band out of Vancouver, I believe.
Good old Vancouver.
and it's that really they're a lot more up the album of like straight up Bikini Kill influence,
right?
And it's just really really good to high energy punk based out of Canada. So
out of Vancouver. Cool.
Out of Vancouver. Can't recommend it enough.
Cool.
They do lean into that sort of indie rock every now and then, but it's still really solid stuff.
All right.
And then my last one that I have here is Darkness Reigns by Death Valley Girls.
Right, and you mentioned Death Valley Girls as being this kind of insane creation.
I will read their biography.
Oh man, this is going to take forever.
No. It's as short as it was last time.
Okay, all right.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So yeah. Death Valley Girls is a Los Angeles-based garage rock synth pop proto-metal troupe.
How many subgenres
whose
do you
self-described California doom boogie, Manson family B-movie theatrics, and occult-themed lyrics invoke names like The Cramps, Black Sabbath, and Bikini Kill.
Right.
At this point, I've kind of noticed that Bikini Kill is kind of just like one of those bands that's related to any punk band with women in the band.
Hey, does your band have a female vocalist? Is it a female-fronted punk band?
You must be influenced by Bikini Kill. Yeah.
You must be into Bikini Kill.
And as much as Bikini Kill is amazing.
Bikini Kill. Listen, and Bikini Kill is the greatest female-fronted band of all time. Listen, bro. There would not be female-fronted punk bands without Bikini Kill. Okay? Go on though. I'm on a tangent. Here we go.
Just gonna say, I do love Bikini Kill. It is a great band.
I never listened to Bikini Kill. I was just joking.
Yeah, I just feel like they shouldn't be cited as a reference for every female-fronted punk band. Any band that has a female member in it, it shouldn't be like, oh, you guys love Bikini Kill.
Listen, bro. Pussy Whipped is an anthem. Okay. All right. Bro, where's my IPA? All right, listen. All right, go on.
Emerging in 2013 and founded by drummer Patty Schmel of Hole.
You know, that band with Courtney Love?
Yep.
Okay.
Her six-string wielding brother, Larry Schmel, vocalist Bonnie Bloomgarden, and bass player Rachel Orozco. The band released their debut album, Street Venom, on cassette via Burger Records in 2014.
And we were mentioning how much more love Burger Records should get for making cassettes cool again.
Oh, yeah, and how good a lot of their stuff is.
Yeah, for sure. They put out a lot of really neat artists and stuff, so definitely go check out Burger Records.
So, yeah, if the fact that this band was formed by a former member of Hole doesn't sort of give you an idea of the type of style that this band has.
Why did Courtney Love kick out Patty from Hole?
I don't know.
Because Courtney thought she schmelled.
Okay.
I'm gonna go Bikini Kill myself.
Oh my god. Patty left the group shortly thereafter and was replaced by Laura Kelsey from the Flytraps. Yep. And then in 2016, the band released their sophomore studio long player LP. Long player, weird.
Long player? No, it's it's long playing. What? Who the fuck? What kind of Wikipedia article you reading, boy? Coming over there.
It's
I'm
not
peeking
Wikipedia.
Like you would not believe right now.
It's allmusic.com.
Okay, AllMusic.
But their sophomore album, Glow in the Dark, via Burger Records. The group moved to Suicide Squeeze Records for their third full-length album, 2018's Darkness Reigns. It's a really solid album. Cannot recommend it enough. It's that sort of like trancey, gothic surf rock.
Okay, yeah. That sounds pretty neat too.
Yeah, kind of cool to just chill back and listen to.
What's the name of the band again?
Death Valley Girl.
Death Valley Girl.
Yeah.
All right.
And let's get on to your picks now.
Sure. Mine are gonna differ a little bit, but I'll pretty much run down what I have been listening to. from the last time we talked. I want to just mention the 4 that I brought up, which was Heart-Shaped World by Chris Isaak.
Sorry, 1 second.
What now? God damn it, Duncan.
Morgan's on the couch behind me. And she just ripped the nastiest burp.
Okay. Yeah, I'm with Morgan here. Can I get on with my music picks, please?
Okay.
Okay. All right. As I was saying, 4 fucking picks that I had last week before I was so rudely interrupted by Morgan's belch, I guess. Belch. So Marilyn Manson's Portrait of an American Family, Traveling Wilburys Volume 1, Chris Isaak's Heart-Shaped World, and I had like 3 albums, but I was listening to a lot of dance pop last week as well. So artists like St. Pepsi, Skylar Spence, who are the same person, and Neon Indian. This week, a little different.
Okay.
Been listening to some Yes.
Some Yes.
And I talked about Yes before when we were doing End of the Week. They're my dad's favorite band, and I've been listening to them for a very long time. And they were like a prog band for the longest time, and one of the big names in progressive rock. And then at one point in the 80s, they just, went through multiple lineup changes and met up with different people and changed their sound for a couple of albums. So Big Generator was the album they released after 90125, which had Owner of a Lonely Heart on it. But Big Generator is kind of like, in my opinion, I think it's a better sort of poppy rock album and more of a fully realized pop rock Yes album, I suppose. Okay. I don't know, a lot
Moving
of the tracks
away from the sort of prog.
Well, no, because they did that with 90125, but I think that it was more fully fleshed out when they released Big Generator, and they kind of nailed it. But ever since then, they haven't really released a lot of albums like that. They made a return to prog, I think, in the 90s, which is weird because that was not a really high point for prog.
Yeah.
But, like, you had bands like Dream Theater and, like,
Yeah, but the majority of music was sort of...
was like grunge or like hip-hop.
Yeah, it was going more to strip
and,
down.
Yeah, but Yes kind of came back in the late 80s, early 90s with prog. But Big Generator is a really solid album. A lot of really great musicianship from guys like Trevor Rabin, and John Anderson is back. He'd been back for a while, but John Anderson is just like, he's the lead singer, has been the lead singer. It's weird. Yes is in a weird state now where there's 2 Yeses.
There's Yes and Yes.
There's Yes, and then there's Yes West, which is what my dad refers to it, and those guys just like,
I forget, like Adam West at every show.
No, it's like former members of Yes who just kind of got back together and go and like play on cruise ships and shit, and like, like they're not like the other Yes that's like going and playing shows now. It's like weird. Yes is in a weird spot, but I've always liked their music, and Big Generator is a really solid album. Next up, went to Toronto last week and hit up Cosmos Records, which is this record store on Queen Street that exclusively sells older copies, and you won't find a reissue in there if you look hard enough. There's like, I mean, like, not new reissues, but like you can totally find like, reissues from the 80s.
Yeah.
What I mean. Like this guy has
nothing sort of past.
Nothing repressed like in 2013. Like this guy has a cutoff date, right? So I went to Cosmos Records with Sam and a coworker of ours, and I bought a couple of Kiss albums. I got Dynasty, and I bought their first live album.
Okay.
And been listening to those. Dynasty is a really good Kiss album. Probably one of my favorites. Got some great tracks on here. You got Charisma, I Was Made for Loving You, which is like a huge Kiss song. It's one of the big ones. One of my favorite Kiss albums. It's just a really funky rock album. Doesn't really stray too far away from rock. It's kind of... It's a good rock album.
Yeah, it knows its place, and it just kind of relishes in it.
Yeah, because a lot of Kiss albums, like you take Destroyer, which sounds like this sort of heavy metal album, but there's like 3 tracks on there that are metal because Simmons didn't really like what Chris or Ace Frehley wanted to do. Like, because that's the thing with Kiss, is it's one of those bands where everyone writes, everyone plays different instruments, everyone sings. It's neat. It's really neat. But yeah, Dynasty's great. And then Alive 1, because there's like 4. One of those great albums that's just, I don't know. I think my family's trying to get my attention right now, which is awesome. Can't have any privacy or respect in this house. Anyway, but yeah, Dynasty's great. Kiss is great. And then after that, I think I don't know. I shout out to Catch 22. His new EP Transparency just came out. Really solid electronic album. Don't really know the guy too well, but been listening to that a lot too. No, Sam's done some great work. I don't know if you've listened to the new EP at all, but like it's solid. It's really good.
I haven't had much time on my hands. I'm finally done exams, so
I've been in the room with him while he was making most of those tracks anyway. So I kind of
I like the work that he's been putting into it. So yeah,
it came out really well. So good job, bud. Good job. Can't wait to hear more shit from you. Even though he said he was probably done after this EP because it was pretty time extensive. And I'm also going to give a shout out to, what else? Last pick, I think. Yeah, my last pick is going to be Hysteria by Def Leppard.
Okay, classic.
The only Def Leppard album I own on vinyl because it was handed down to me. And, solid tracks on there. Rock of Ages is there, I think, right? Yeah, Rock of Ages is there. It's not there. I'm silly. Pour Some Sugar on Me is there.
There we are.
And Gods of War, Women, Rocket. It's all good. It's all good. Def Leppard's a sick band. And I think that's about going to wrap it up for my music picks there.
Okay, nice.
Yeah,
nice.
A lot of stuff. I've been on a real classic rock kick lately.
Yeah, I can tell.
I don't know.
Because last week was, not last week, but like the last recording was a lot more on the metal side of things, and now you've gone...
it was more rockabilly, and there was like a couple of metal albums, I think. It was probably about half and half. I'm kind of all over the place with music, but lately it's just been I've been on a classic rock kick,
Yeah, exactly.
Hang on 1 second. I think it was my brother texting me.
No problem.
I'm just going to text him. Not texting me, but yelling my fucking name. I could hear it through my headphone. Hang on a minute.
A lot more obnoxious than a good old text.
So you want to talk about Spider-Man again?
Oh, let's talk about Spider-Man again.
Did you beat the game yet?
I have not beat the game yet.
How far have you gotten?
I'm trying to think. I just finished up with Scorpion and Rhino.
Oh yeah, that was a tough boss battle.
That was like a lot going on all at once.
That was a lot of work.
I was fine with Rhino, but then as soon as Scorpion came in, I'm like, oh my god, really?
I don't know how I would have felt if they had made like each individual villain a boss, but I guess it was kind of interesting to see two bosses at a time.
Like the Electro Vulture fight was really, really good.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, good game. I beat it a couple of weeks ago, and I haven't really gotten around to playing much more of it. I don't know. It's like after the main story was done, I was tempted to just go back and play all the... excuse me, I just ate some chili. I was really tempted to go back and just complete all the little suburbs and stuff like that and get all the side missions done. But it's just like, I don't really have time. You know?
Exactly.
I got too much to do now.
I got a bit more time on my hands now that I'm finally done exams. So
done school?
Not school, just exams.
Just exams, right.
Just exams.
Yeah, I might get around to completing it 100% one day. That's something I don't really do very often, but
But it's one of those games that's just totally worth it.
Yeah, definitely.
And I found out that they're supposed to be doing Fantastic Four DLC for it.
What'd you just fucking say right now? I didn't read that.
Yeah,
what?
There's rumors of Fantastic Four DLC for...
Oh my god, I would buy that in a heartbeat.
Let me double check.
I haven't even bought the City That Never Sleeps DLC yet.
I totally recommend it. I've heard it's nothing but fun.
All right. I'll give it a try one of these
PS4 Fantastic Four.
But I really only started playing that Spider-Man game again. Like, I got it, played the tutorial, put it down. And then I found out that the Sam Raimi Spider-Man suit was being released as free DLC, and I'm like, all right, I got to get in on this.
All right. Yes. Okay. So a cryptic tweet tells us that something fantastic is heading to Spider-Man PS4.
I'll tell you right now, that's not very cryptic, but they tried, I guess.
Speculation mode. Yeah, no, Marvel Games said, and for our final Fantastic Four week live stream announcement, something fantastic is coming to Marvel's Spider-Man.
It's not really that subtle. That's not subtle at all.
Yeah, no, exactly.
But great. I don't care. That's awesome.
So
Cool.
not sure if it's going to be like a whole new story mode, like story missions, or if it's going to be like
That'd be wicked.
just suits or something like that. But yeah.
That would be insane if they made some Fantastic Four story DLC and you had to help Reed Richards with shit. Like, that would be mental. That would be so good.
Oh, no, you know what would be really fun?
What?
Going up against the Mole Man with the Fantastic Four.
Even cooler? Dr. Doom.
Dr. Doom's just too high. Like, it just seems like too high stakes
Yeah.
for that game right now.
I guess so.
So I think Mole Man would be really good because then you could just, like, go underneath of the city and stuff.
Yeah,
Dr. Doom seems like it would have to be, like, its own game.
I guess so.
It couldn't be just, like, a DLC story thing.
They wouldn't have to kill him, though. They could just,
but still.
send him off and have his storyline continue in another game. Hell, if we saw a good Fantastic Four game, that'd be something else.
Good.
How would that even work?
I don't know.
They would not do it. I don't think they'd do split screen. Split screen is a dead concept. They don't do that shit anymore.
And it makes me so sad.
It'd have to be online or something.
Yeah, it would.
Or you could do what GTA 5 did and like cycle through the characters if you really wanted to.
Yeah,
that would be neat.
Yeah, that's actually a good way of thinking about it.
I'd love to see a Fantastic Four game. Like if Marvel Games is gonna start doing like properties or start making games off different properties and stuff like that, then Fantastic Four, man, come on. The last time I saw a Fantastic Four game was when the movies with Chris Evans were coming out.
Oh yeah. Rise
for
of the
like
Silver
GameCube and
Surfer.
PS2 and
Yeah.
Xbox. Yeah, and it was trash. It was awful, but come on, because it was like I think it was like top down or something. I don't remember. I have it.
Yeah.
My dad has a copy somewhere, but like I don't quite remember.
This is before licensing games sort of found a way to be decent.
Right.
The only ones that were decent at the time were, weirdly enough, the Spider-Man ones. The Spider-Man ones were actually pretty decent.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think Treyarch developed Spider-Man 2.
Yep, they did Spider-Man 1 and 2. And I think they did
that's like one of those
3, but that mostly got taken over by Activision.
Well, Activision's more just publishing at this point. They don't really develop.
Yeah, but that was 2009, so...
Here, I'm going to look it up real quick. So Spider-Man 2, the game... Yeah, here we go. Developed by Treyarch.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see if there was a sequel. Or Spider-Man 3. Let's go look at that.
Yeah. Spider-Man 3, the game. I have a feeling it was done by Treyarch, but I know that there was a lot of studio problems with it.
Marketing. I don't see anything here about a video game. I'm on the actual... Oh, here we go.
I was going to say, trust me, there is a video game. I know
there's a video game. I played it with you.
Yeah.
Okay. Developed by Vicarious Visions.
Oh.
Who also made...
Tell me what else.
They also made Tony Hawk's Pro Skater?
Okay, so you had a developing company that...
No.
Their only good game was a skateboarding game, and then you gave them...
No, because Neversoft developed Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. No, hang on. What did they fucking make? Okay, here's a list of their games.
Okay.
I'm gonna look for specifically console releases from that era, right? Mm-hmm. So let's see what else they made. Okay. So they ported Doom 3 to the Xbox.
Okay.
Which is neat.
Cool.
Cool. Doom 3 is a good game. Fine. Let's see. They ported X-Men Legends 2 to the PSP. It is not really a console game, but it's close enough because the PSP was essentially a PlayStation 2 in terms of power.
Yeah.
Like a weaker PlayStation 2. Ultimate Alliance for the Wii. For the Wii. Yeah. And then Guitar Hero 3.
Okay. So basically they just do ports.
No, they developed Guitar Hero 3.
Oh, what?
Yeah, they developed Guitar Hero 3 for the Wii.
Oh, right, because that's the point where the main developers behind Guitar Hero left and created Rock Band.
What else have they done? Let's see. B-Movie the Game for the Nintendo DS.
Can I get the entire script of B-Movie the Game tattooed on me, please?
They've done every port of Guitar Hero to Wii, and they also developed Skylanders games of all things.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So they've developed Skylanders Giants for Wii U.
So kind of just like all over the place.
The Skylanders racing game for everything.
Yep.
Skylanders Imaginators for everything, and Crash. No way! You know what they did recently?
Oh, the Crash Bandicoot remasters.
They did Crash Bandicoot, yeah, and they also ported Destiny 2 to the PC.
Okay.
So they're kind of like that publishing house or that development house that sort of ports shit.
Okay, yeah,
they don't
that
really
in between
do
thing. They don't have their own IPs that they've.
But they also developed wholly Spider-Man 3. For, hang on a second, give me a minute. Did they just develop it specifically for? No, they ported it to. Okay, I'm wrong. They ported it only to the PlayStation 2 and the Wii. So I don't know who actually developed
it from the decent systems to the shitty systems.
But it says here that the sole developer, like on the game's page, is just Vicarious Visions.
Weird.
It
looks like Treyarch and Activision don't want any of that.
I want to read just a line from the header of the Wikipedia.
Yeah,
a GameCube and Xbox version of the game were planned for release, but both were canceled due to low sales for Xbox and limited resources for GameCube, along with Shrek the Third and the Simpsons game. Okay, so Shrek the Third were canceled and was canceled, and the Simpsons game was canceled, but they were going to get releases on GameCube? That would have been great, because, like, have you ever played the Simpsons game?
Which one? Hit and Run?
No, the straight up is just the Simpsons game. It came out alongside the movie.
No, I haven't played that one.
Really good game.
Really?
Really solid game. Yeah, actually, like, you may just look at it as, like, oh, it's a licensed game. No, it's pretty solid. It's a good little 3D platformer. Yeah, no, that's weird. It was canceled for the GameCube. That would have been sick. That would have been awesome.
Yeah.
I feel like the GameCube is one of those systems that got shafted.
It did, but it was so good.
It was so fun.
It had solid titles on it as well.
But okay, I guess they couldn't just port the PS2 version to the GameCube.
You know what? Here's my thought on what killed GameCube in like the eyes of people when it first came out.
All right.
One, for the tech demo, they showed like a grown-up Link and Ganon fight and stuff like that, and then the Zelda game that came to the GameCube was Wind Waker.
You're also forgetting that Twilight Princess also came to GameCube.
Yeah, but that didn't come until after.
They still got an adult Zelda game, though.
They still did, but they didn't know.
Come on.
But the immediate game that came out after like that tech demo was Wind Waker.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Wind Waker's a great game, but it was completely different than what anybody was expecting, and it kind of pissed a bunch of people off.
I don't think that's what.
But here's my other thing.
GameCube sales. But go on.
There wasn't a launch Mario title. The only thing close to it was Luigi's Mansion.
You know, I don't think that's what diminished GameCube sales, to be honest with you. I feel like it was kind of the lack of mature content, because a lot of third party games were mature, and a lot of, like, Rockstar, I remember reading somewhere that the reason we haven't seen Grand Theft Auto ported to any Nintendo system in recent years is because Rockstar was developing a game for the Nintendo 64, and Nintendo was going to publish it.
Yeah.
And then Nintendo backed out and kind of left Rockstar with no funding.
Oh my god. So they kind of just screwed over Rockstar.
Yeah, they kind of screwed over Rockstar, and then Midway picked it up, and it still ended up getting published on the Nintendo 64. I forgot what the game is called, but it was kind of an open-world action-adventure game on the Nintendo 64.
Okay.
And it came out, I totally forgot what it was called, but Rockstar developed a few games for the Nintendo 64, and then eventually Nintendo kind of just stabbed them in the back and left them with no funding. And yeah, we haven't really seen a lot of ports.
Nintendo did done dirty.
Oh yeah, but I don't know. It's different now. We saw LA Noire ported to Switch.
Yeah.
So maybe
there's more mature titles going over, and I think that's because Nintendo is starting to realize that most of the gaming demographic has grown up.
The thing I wanted to mention was that Grand Theft Auto wasn't on GameCube either.
Yeah.
And I don't think Nintendo held enough power anymore with systems like the PS2 that was also a DVD player.
Yeah, and it was like the top-selling system.
In many ways was like an affordable DVD player for people, and I think that's why it sold so well, is because at one point that was many people's first DVD player.
Yeah.
And it also played games. Like, of course, the PS2 was going to sell more. The Xbox was expensive.
Mm-hmm.
But
really
it had
Halo.
It had Halo. I think it sold...
It had Turok as well.
Every system had Turok. Turok was a multi-plat.
Okay, I thought that was a Microsoft exclusive.
No, Turok was a multi-plat. It got ported to everything.
Okay.
But I think the GameCube and the Xbox were like almost neck and neck in terms of sales. I think the Xbox sold like 4 more million units or something like that than the GameCube. But yeah, no. The GameCube didn't really have a lot of mature titles. It didn't have a DVD player like the Xbox did, and
yeah, because it was those tiny micro discs.
It was affordable. There were points where you could pick up the GameCube for like $100.
Mm-hmm.
Like later on in the system's life, but Nintendo was like marketing it as being like a cheap port. I think at that point they're ready to move on to the Wii. And
yeah, exactly.
I don't know. Like, it didn't really hold enough value, I think, to gamers, or it didn't really show anything new to gamers other than being a step up in graphics. Like, the PS2 had a DVD player. It had
it was only
Final Fantasy. It had all your cool Japanese RPGs. There weren't many on the GameCube.
Yeah,
that's one of the reasons my dad was kind of upset. He goes, I love the GameCube and all, but there weren't a lot of, like, Final Fantasy games or, like,
no, exactly,
other cool Square Enix games on it. And I'm like, yeah, I guess so. The PS2 had more.
Yeah, it's in retrospect that you see, like, how many of the games on the GameCube were actually decent, like, really good games.
It's funny, because Nintendo was at the top of the game at one point, and then they just started making weird decisions internally as to how they were going to make their game systems. Yeah. Like, they were pretty much the platform for Square Enix. Like, they were the guys that put out all the Final Fantasy games, even on the Nintendo Entertainment System.
Oh yeah,
that was Nintendo's like thing against Sega with Phantasy Star. They had Final Fantasy, and then the Nintendo 64 came out, and Square Enix tries developing this massive, what needs to be put onto 3 CDs, but hey, fuck you, we're gonna do cartridges that can only hold 64 megabytes of data.
Yeah,
whereas a CD held something like 700.
Yeah, I can't remember right now. I'm supposed to remember that
something crazy like that, right?
I'm literally supposed to remember that for my digital technology class, but I can't remember now.
Yeah, Square jumps ship and moves on to Sony, and now people wholly associate Final Fantasy with being a Sony thing.
Yep.
Right? It's funny, because Sony was, there wouldn't be a PlayStation without Nintendo today, and in many different ways. I'm sure a lot of people know about the original PlayStation being it
was an
collaboration,
add-on.
But yeah, it was a collaboration between Sony and Nintendo as a means to bring disc-based games to the Super Nintendo, and then it just
and then Nintendo
they made a deal with Philips.
Yeah, and then that
went
ended up
Sony's
back. Oh my god, in those gold Philips CDI games,
the 4 Nintendo games that got released on another system.
Mario's missing.
Mario's missing. The 3 Zelda games. 2 of them
Zelda
being
Wand of Gamelon, Zelda. One second, I'm actually gonna search this up because I used to know them.
The Adventure of Link. I don't remember what it was called. Or like Link's Adventure. I don't remember.
Here we are. Zelda CDI games.
Yep.
Oh, Zelda with a Wand of Gamelon, Link, the Faces of Evil, and then Zelda's Adventure. Right,
and it's funny because those first 2 games, the Link and the Zelda one, are like 2D side scrollers, but they're broken. And then
they're kind of
Zelda game.
They're kind of like a package deal. Like they're both made by the same guy and stuff.
Yeah,
and they follow the same sort of art style and everything.
that third Zelda game is like
it's a top-down.
top-down game. Yeah. And we wouldn't see voice acting in a Zelda game for another 30 years after that.
And thank God.
And thank God. But yeah, no, we wouldn't have a PlayStation without Nintendo. And Nintendo was just making some really shady business moves, and I don't think they were really that much more desirable to a lot of big-time developers. So they kind of
thought they were top shit instead of realizing that, oh, wait, there's all these other companies that are looking.
Like, the GameCube was a mess, but I fucking love that system.
Oh, yeah.
I grew up with so many fucking memories of that system, man. Like, playing... You know what's funny? The first GameCube game I ever played or ever saw was that fucking Aquaman game that JonTron made a whole video about. Because that was what my dad was playing at the time. And I remember I got excited because it was, like, video games were a new thing to me.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like seeing him just even play this Aquaman video game that has, like, holds, like, a 2 on IGN. It's just impressive. It was, like, fun. I was excited to see him play boss battles.
It's just the spectacle of it.
Now I go back and play it, and I'm like, this game sucks dick. Anyway.
Yeah.
But
no, for me it was, trying to think. Double Dash.
Double Dash.
Mario Kart Double Dash.
Mario Kart Double Dash, right.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's a good game.
I played that once. The first Mario Kart game I ever played was the Wii one.
Oh, the Wii one's... the Wii one's okay.
It's great. I liked it. I don't know.
It's one of those ones that it has like a soft spot for a lot of people because that was their first.
Yeah, because that was the first one I played, and I got the Wii. The Wii was insane for Nintendo. I think that's like their highest selling system of all time.
It is.
It's like there was hype around it. The motion controls were new, and then everyone else tried to do them.
It's super accessible as well. Like that's the thing. It was super accessible when it came out.
Yeah, even if you weren't a gamer, like there were games for you.
Yeah, you had Wii Sport and then Wii Sports Resort, which were.
Yeah, awesome. And they were pack-in titles, like...
Exactly.
I don't know. But I don't know. The Wii was great, and Nintendo had a lot of trouble with the GameCube, but then they released the Wii, and the Wii sold well, and then they released the Wii U to, like, mass confusion.
Yeah.
Because no one had any idea what it was, and it was, like, a busted... It was a good console, to be fair. It had quirks, but, like, there were
some solid games on it.
The thing is like a lot of people weren't looking to buy a game console with, 1, no new games on it.
Yeah.
2, they weren't even really sure what the hell it was, if it was an extension of the Wii, if it was a revised version of the hardware, or I don't even know.
I think
people were just confused by the system.
It was basically the same, but it had... trying to think.
No, the Wii U I have, and I'll tell you now, it's essentially an Xbox 360.
Yeah,
in terms of power.
HD. Like that was the big difference.
Because the whole thing with there's a huge difference because the Wii was a GameCube with motion controls in terms of power. That's what that was the graphical capabilities of the system. It wasn't much more powerful than the GameCube, and then the Wii U was pretty much on par with like the 360 or the PS3, but at that point, the PS4 and Xbox One were already out.
Yeah.
And they completely fucking knocked out the Wii U in terms of games that were coming out.
Yeah, because the Wii U, like the top games that I can see here, I'm just looking at a brief overview. Breath of the Wild, which came out with the Switch, it was just ported over to the Wii U as well. Mario Kart 8.
Another port.
No, because that was originally done for the Wii U, but they ported it over to the
Switch. Yeah.
The first Splatoon,
right?
Which I think that got ported. No, they released Splatoon 2 at the same time as...
they didn't really... like, there was some new IPs that came out, but it was like...
Splatoon didn't get handled well enough. Like, it's a decent game. It's just kind of bare bones. Splatoon 2 is a lot better. It offers a lot more.
And Nintendo's never really figured out the whole...
multiplayer,
online gaming. Yeah, exactly. They've always been really confused about it. So or not confused, rather they want to prevent pedophilia and like predators from reaching your children, or they want to prevent hate speech online. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just always been kind of clunky.
They've never really handled online well. But doesn't now the Switch is out. It's doing well.
Oh yeah.
It's doing incredibly well for a system that was pretty much released really late into the. I think we're on the 8th generation of video games now.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
I'd even call that the beginning of the 9th generation.
Yeah, exactly. Because now
it's the Switch is kind of the step up, right?
Yeah,
so,
exactly. It's kind of the call to like, okay, Microsoft, Sony, you gotta step your game up now.
Even still, what they did was pretty much package a 360 in a handheld.
Yeah.
Or I should say, they made the Wii U game controller. It's one.
Yeah, it's one.
Like the whole console's there, right?
Exactly.
But they made it as thin as a tablet. And my brother bought one the other day, and Zelda runs fine on that thing. I forgot what other game he got for it. Mario Odyssey, I think, runs amazing.
Oh yeah, Mario Odyssey. I've heard nothing but good things about.
It's amazing, that game. It's perfect. But yeah, man, like, and I think that's why it was so. I think that's why it's doing so well now, is because developers are looking at the hardware and how easy it is to develop for, and they're just like, well, fuck, let's port all of our old games onto the system. So they're putting games like Skyrim on the Switch, or
Doom on the Switch,
2, which is insane, and like fucking Wolfenstein, which is like, what, really?
But that's the other thing, is that now Nintendo is starting to get to the point where they're being okay with more mature content being on the system.
Well, yeah, because they got to sell systems.
And they started realizing, like, wait a second, if we're going to sell systems, it's not like in the old days where we have to sell to kids. No, now we have to sell to adults as well as kids.
Even still, Nintendo had some pretty brash marketing back in the 90s, and then at some point they just let it all go. Mm-hmm. And they haven't brought back that brash marketing yet, but they're at least trying to appeal to more mature gamers by releasing more mature games on their system, which is great. That's perfect. We can't just have a system that's like kiddie games, because what if I want to play a game on the go? What am I going to do? Whip out my Vita that has an inch of dust on it and try to stream from my PlayStation 4? Like, no. I just want to put a game in the system and play it. They nailed it. That's like that. I think the Switch solves a lot of problems for people that just want a game, have a console experience on the go.
Yeah,
really.
I'm surprised that Nintendo hasn't completely rolled out, like, finished supporting the DS yet, especially with the Switch being released.
The 3DS?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
there's a lot of people still play the 3DS, right?
Exactly.
There's a lot of really good RPGs on the 3DS still that are still getting developed, or are still seeing, like, DLC and stuff for. Like, it's,
It's still making its money, and that's the thing, is that I remember when the DS first got released.
Yeah.
And, like, I saved up my money for a long time to buy a DS.
I remember kind of being in that same department. I never bought a DS at launch. I bought a DSi when I was 10 years old. So the system had already been out for like 5 years at that point.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that is it for this month. That is the amount of audio that I could salvage. And yeah. So I hope that you like the first podcast, as little and scraped together as it was. We'll come back next month with hopefully a more put together, in place podcast. So again, just check out our Facebook, check out our YouTube. We're going to be posting regularly every month on the last Thursday of every month. And also check out our Spotify link with all of our music picks on it, okay? Awesome. So see you again next month.